Hey guys, so today we are doing a carrot cake, and I'm gonna cheat and make it the lazy way. And I'm gonna start by chopping up my carrots and dropping them into simmering water. And the end goal is to have these soft enough to blend into the rest of our wet ingredients rather than having to grate fresh carrots like classic carrot cake recipes usually call for. Alright, our carrots are in. We're going to cover this and let them simmer. And next up, we are going to prep our pans. Okay, so this next trick I learned from Alton Brown. To line the bottom of the pan with parchment paper for a round pan, you first take 2 sheets of parchment paper, 1, 2, lay them over each other, fold in half once, one way, once the other way, diagonally in half, and diagonally in half again. Then you set it from the center, measure out to the outside, and simply trim that off. Then when you unfold it, you have 2 rounds of parchment paper that will now fit in the bottom of your pan. Alright, next up we're working on our dry ingredients. I'm going to start off with my nuts. Usually it's a bit cheaper to go with the whole or half nuts than the already chopped kind. So if you've got a 1.5 cups of the pecan halves, then that should grind down to about 1 cup of chopped nuts. So pop that on, and about 5 to 6 pulses should be good. 1 cup of gluten-free all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of coconut flour, 1/4 plus 1/2 cup of rice flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 plus 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of powdered ginger, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Whisk to combine. We're going to start with 1/2 cup of oil. And remember, when you measure, to always look from the side so that it lines up with the line there. Next up is 3/4 cup of buttermilk. There we go. 3/4 cup of applesauce. 1. And 1/2. And finally, my carrots. Press on the lid and start out slower, just that it doesn't all try to pop out of your blender. and then crank up the speed and keep blending until it is a smooth consistency. Okay, so pour the wet into the dry. And we're going to go ahead and give this a light toss just so that the dry ingredients can pull some of the heat out from those carrots before we add the eggs. So we've got 1 cup of brown sugar plus 1/2 cup of molasses plus 3 eggs. Next we take our mixer and mix it all up. Again, as always, starting off at a lower speed and gradually cranking it up. Alright, so our oven is preheated to 375. We have our lined pans here. And we're just going to try to distribute the batter evenly between both pans. So, pour directly in the center to pin that parchment down. The same thing on the other pan. Those look about even to me, so time to pop them in the oven. Okay, I ended up reducing my temperature and having to turn and rotate my pans. Now all that's left is to let these cool down completely before frosting. Okay, so now we're going to put together a classic cream cheese icing. I have here 1/2 stick of butter, 4 tablespoons or 1/4 cup, 1 whole 8-ounce block of cream cheese, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 teaspoons is the same as 1/2 of a tablespoon, so I'm just going to eyeball it on the vanilla. And as usual, start at a lower speed and gradually crank it up, and we just want to mix this until it's smooth. Next, we're going to gradually add our sugar until it gets to the proper consistency. So I ended up only using about 2 cups of the powdered sugar, but I like my cream cheese frosting a little tangier. If you like yours sweeter, then you could of course add more. Now we are going to pop this in the fridge for about 20 minutes before frosting our cakes. Okay, we are depanning our cakes, and let me just show you how to do this really quick. You start around the edge with a knife and loosen that up. Remember, we didn't grease the sides. And we're going to put the bottom of the plate over the top because it'll be closer, so we have less of a chance of there being damage to the cake itself. And then we just invert. And we just need to tap lightly around the bottom of the pan to dislodge the cake totally. There we go. And last but not least, just pull off the parchment. Ta-da! Okay, our icing is ready, our cakes are ready, our cake stand is ready. How to frost a cake. We're going to start off by utilizing the tools we have to make transfer go as smoothly as possible. And we're just going to slide the cake down and pull the rack out from under it. The fact that it's gluten-free means that it would probably fall apart if you tried to lift and carry it to the cake stand. And then you're just going to carefully kind of push it to wherever you want. There, center. Next up, icing. Grab a big old scoop. If you do not have a cake icing spatula, that's okay. A knife will work. But you'll probably just have to dip back a few more times with the knife because you just can't pick up as much. And then you're just going to keep spreading until it is even. And usually you want to start off with one thin layer first to trap any crumbs, and then you can go in for a second layer to actually do a full icing treatment. So, same thing. Once you have it moved, top it with the icing. There we go, a lovely iced cake. I left the sides open so you can actually see the cake. And it looks and smells delicious. So here is my lovely piece of work. It's super moist. The nuts add a really nice texture. Anyway, I'm going to finish off this piece. I hope you guys enjoy making this at home yourselves. And I'll see you next time on the Deglutenizer.